3, 4.
Rev up your engine! 1992 Toyota Wyndham. Yes, I said Toyota Wyndham. I'm not making it up. This is a 1992. Yes, it looks like no one's ever sat in the back seat, and it looks like it's never even been out in the rain. But yes, it's really a 1992. It's from Japan. Right-hand steering. And look how advanced the Japanese luxury cars were in 92. Look at this. Factory. Pulls the mirrors in. Pulls them back out. And you put them out, it talks to you in Japanese. It's telling me in Japanese, don't forget to put your seatbelt on. Of course, it didn't do me any good. I don't speak Japanese. It's got the steering wheel on the wrong side for us. It's on the right-hand side. So take my advice. If you know you're not the greatest driver in the world, don't buy one of these with the right-hand drive. I've driven cars in England, and it confused the heck out of me. And that was in England where they drive on that side of the road. Here in the United States, you better know what you're doing if you buy a right-hand drive car. I guess it's a good thing it's an automatic transmission, because if it was a standard, shifting with my left hand would really confuse me. But of course, it's a Toyota. Starts right up. Has freezing cold air conditioning. Typical Toyota. Doesn't matter that it's 1992. There she goes, talking again. It's a Toyota. They last forever. Now, it only has 91,000 miles on it, so it's barely broken in. As we look under the hood, is it some top secret Japanese special? No, it's a V6 Toyota Camry engine, the 3000. One of the most reliable they ever made. And if you look at the overall body, you can see, basically, it's a Toyota Camry that's put on a Lexus frame. I often warn people, never buy a car imported from another country. Where the heck are you going to get parts for it? Well, this is a Toyota Camry. It's not hard to get parts for. Now, even though it's a 92, it came out of the factory pretty sophisticated. As you can see here, it had electronic struts. Well, this is just fake now. They were worn out and cost too much money. They just put on regular struts. As we'll find out later when we road tested it, it works fine. But it's a Toyota Camry, basically. You can get parts for it. You don't have to buy the expensive stuff. You can modify it backwards like that. Because really, you know, in the United States, they're not collector's items where they're going to be worth $100,000. So you don't care if you modify them. And even better, you know what he paid for this? Nothing. This car was donated to Community Action Teams. It's a non-profit organization. The nice guy at Shinku Classics donated it. Kudos to them to helping out a non-profit charity. If this would have been sold, it had 60,000 original miles on it. It probably would have gone for about $8,000. But even then, pretty good deal when you think about it. What you have to understand is, in Japan, they don't drive all that much. They don't have that many roads, so they don't put too many miles. And they have these weird rules that when cars get to be a certain age, you have to replace the engine. It's a make people buy car rule. The Japanese have some very weird laws. That's how years ago, many of my customers, when they wore out their Toyotas or Hondas, would get engines and transmissions imported directly from Japan. And they got them dirt cheap. They get them for 500 bucks. They'd work perfectly fine. I put one of those in my son's Celica, and he drove it for more than 10 years. Ran like a clock. It probably had about 40,000 miles on the engine. But they can't drive them when they're old in Japan because of the laws. They have to pay all these taxes. Guys go over to Japan, they find these things, bring them over here and sell them. There's absolutely nothing wrong with buying, especially a Toyota. Things don't seem to rust much in Japan either. Look at this thing. Not only is it solid, but it doesn't even have surface rust on it. And as I said I was going to talk about, you can see it rides quite smooth. It didn't need the fancy electronic stuff on it. You hear that little noise? That's because the guy's driving a Civic R on the street. He recognized me and he's buzzing with his buzz muffler. Basically, it's just one smooth ride for a 92. So don't poo-poo the idea of getting a Japanese import car. It makes a lot of noise and it talks to you in Japanese, but of course it doesn't have a backup camera because it's a 92. Look at it, still smooth. Shifts like a dream. As you can see, it's smooth on the highway. And when you step on the gas, listen to that engine hum. Shifts great. Listen to that. It still sounds like a great Japanese engine transmission combo, even though it's a 92. Because from my experience, the mileage, as low as it seems, is often totally real. They don't drive that much in Japan. This thing is still hurrying along down the road. Strangely enough, it's still got the original radiator on it. So really, you're thinking about buying one of these cars imported from Japan? Not that bad of an idea when you have a pro do it. This guy, he brings them in, picks them out, does it right. You don't have to deal with going over there and doing all the import paperwork and all that crap. You find guys like them, they have them there, then you look at them, have a guy like me check it out before you buy it. This guy made a big mistake. He didn't have me check it out, but he got it for nothing, so does it really matter? And there's nothing wrong with it anyways. You're not gonna find that good of a deal, odds are. You can get a quality, low mileage car with an insane original paint job for a very decent price. This thing's now got 60-something thousand miles on it. It might go another 360,000 miles. What a deal if you're buying it for, say, 8 grand. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Angel H says, are used Dodge Vipers worth the 80 grand? No. I got a customer, he's actually suing Dodge. He bought 2 Vipers, the engines blew up on them and they wouldn't fix them free. He's still suing them. He's still in court with them. I mean, they weren't very good vehicles, but of course they're collector's items now because they're so bizarro giant engines. And that's whatever the market will bear, but I'd never pay that for one of those. They weren't that well made in the first place. They didn't sell all that well. And the only reason people sell them for a lot is because they're a huge, giant, weird-looking vehicle with a gigantic, you know, V10 engine in it. So they'll go for whatever the market will bear. I wouldn't buy one. I certainly wouldn't pay 80 grand for one. Mo 420 says, Scotty, I want to see what you look like without glasses. No, I can't, because if I take them off, I have laser eyes and would go in and would destroy all you people out there. This is for your protection. I can't see without them anyways. Whenever I got to take them off when I get on an airplane, because they say, take your sunglasses off, can we see if it's your picture, right? I can't see anything. Everything's blurry. I've had bad eyes my entire life. When I was a kid, I cheated. When I took the eye test, I memorized the chart. So they didn't figure out I needed glasses till years later where they forced me to wear them. Lorenzo Jefferson says, Scotty, what do you think of a Mercedes-Benz CLK 530 convertible, 74,000 miles for $3,900 from a family friend? Is it a good deal? Okay, well, remember the one credo. Do not buy a car from a friend or sell a car to a friend, or you may not be friends anymore. But that said, could be a fun toy. $3,900 is nothing, and it's only got 74,000 miles. Mercedes-Benz, even they don't fall apart that fast generally. You'd want to take it to somebody like me who understands cars. Have him check it out first. And if he says the engine and the transmission is still in pretty good shape and it's running good, go ahead. Use it as a toy. Now, don't buy a car like that and think you can drive it 20,000 miles a year. That's stupid. You can't do it. For that price, you want a good-looking car. I got a customer who bought one a couple years ago for his girlfriend. He inherited a bunch of money, and he bought himself a used Porsche, which has turned into a money pit, but he only paid 9 grand for it, and it looks nice. And he also bought the used Mercedes for his girlfriend. And she drives it around, generally on the weekends and stuff. Doesn't put maybe 3,000-4,000 miles a year on it. They've been happy with it, so what the heck? Claramy Jackson says, Scotty, love your channel. What do you think about old Chevy Suburbans? Are they reliable at high miles? Well, they can be. They were much better made. I have a customer. I made a video about it if you want to check. A customer of mine bought an 89 Suburban from some guy's estate. Turns out the thing really only had about 75,000 miles on it. And it was 4-wheel drive too. And he picked it up for 3 grand. It cost him $1,000 to ship it from Seattle to Houston. And I got in that thing and I said, man, I don't believe this. That's the real mileage. Everything still worked. The AC still worked. The 4-wheel drive still worked. The engine didn't burn oil. Back in the day, this one was an 89. Those things were made like Sherman tanks, just to go and go and go and go. Gas hogs, just like a Sherman tank. They could run and run and run. And even with higher mileage, they could last a long time and you could repair them. They were simpler. The rear end goes out, rebuild it or get a rebuilt rear end. The engine goes out, 350 V8, you can get millions of them. Don't cost all that much money. Bodies and frames, as long as they weren't in a place like Buffalo or on the ocean with salt water rotting them, if the frame's solid, you can keep fixing them forever. Woodsy101 says, Scotty, what's your opinion of the 2014 Ford Falcon XR6 Turbo for $12K? I'm assuming you're in Australia. And if you are in Australia, go ahead and get it. Those are fun cars. They're worth money. Now, you're paying 12 grand. Do want a mechanic to check it out. See, everything's still working and everything because it's a turbo. But if a mechanic says it's a good car, go ahead and snap it out because, of course, they're not making them anymore. And in the future, that could very well be a collector's item. I'd snap it up if I lived in Australia. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.